So it's been quite a crazy weekend of boxing. There have been fights taking place all over the world. There was a card in Tijuana, there was a card in Gibraltar, there was a card in Monaco, there was a card in Liverpool. So yeah, there's been boxing all over the world today, and I'm going to try and bring it all together in one video and tell you about all the important things that have happened. So I believe the only place to start is in Tijuana, where Jaime Munguia had a huge upset KO loss to Soase. He was a French. He was undefeated, to be fair. He was a no. He still is undefeated. He's a French undefeated boxer. He had a very low KO record. It was about 25-4, I think, and that might be with his KO over Munguia. And yeah, this was a huge upset win. I was looking at his box rec before making this video, and three fights ago, including the Munguia fight, he was fighting a journeyman. You know, he was fighting someone with a losing record. Then he fought someone who was 11-0, and now he's just knocked out Jaime Munguia. To be fair to Munguia, you know, he was losing. Munguia was winning the fight until he got knocked out, but obviously that means absolutely nothing. You know, if you lose, you lose. Yeah, I think Munguia fell into that trap of, you know, underestimating your opponent, thinking he's just a punching bag. After he fought Canelo, how do you mentally get up for, someone no one's heard of, and after boxing fans don't even know what's happening? So yeah, I think he underestimated Suarez. Probably didn't have any fear going into that, and a lot of the times when you get an early knockdown, if they get up, you just switch off a bit. We saw it with Anthony Yard in his last fight. Oh, he was fighting, I think he was like the best Latvian boxer, but he knocked him down in the first round, tried to get him out of there, couldn't get him out of there, and he nearly lost the fight. I think sometimes when you knock him down early, your head can go a bit. So I think that's probably what happened to Munguia. His head went, he thought, right, I've knocked him down in round 2. This guy's nothing for me. He was outboxing him. He was putting combinations together, head, body, but his defense was so lax, He didn't have his hands up. His hands were down. He clearly was just fighting with no fear, which sounds good, but isn't as good as you think. You need good defense, right? And to be fair to Suarez, he'd been trying that one shot. What was it? I think it was the left hook, wasn't it? He was trying it all throughout the fight, but yeah, he eventually landed it. And wow, he was like just out. He was down until 8 or 9. He got up, but it was clearly all over the place, and I think that was a very sensible stoppage. But yeah, all credit to Suarez, man. This is like a Rocky story, 3 fights ago, you were fighting a journeyman, your first fight outside France, and you go and knock out Jaime Munguia, one of the best super middleweights on the planet. He's been in there with Canelo. He's beaten Derevyanchenko. He was rumored to fight Belanga, Plant. The big fights out from there. Pacheco, for example, and you just knocked him out, and you've put yourself on the scene. So hats off to Suarez, and I feel definitely deserve to talk about him at the start of this video because, as I said, a Rocky story, crazy moment, huge upset. Hats off to him. So I think the next place I'll go is, let's go to Monaco. So there was a show, a very small show in like a hotel. I remember it happened, I think it was last year they did it again. I believe it was a show headlined by Joe Cordina, but I guess the notable names on this card were Chev Clark and Maxi Hughes. Yeah, I've always been quite big on Chev Clark. I've quite rated him highly. He knocked out Elias Zorro, who was probably, top 5, top 10 light heavyweights in Britain. So I thought, yeah, this guy's got to have something about him. But, again, big night for the French. He lost on a split decision to Mosquea for the European Championship belt. And yeah, he got knocked down in round 1. I haven't actually seen the fight because it's not on YouTube anywhere. I can't find it. But yeah, I guess, well, obviously it's an upset for me because I didn't know how good the opponent was. But yeah, I've always rated Chev Clark quite highly, and I was definitely surprised to see him take a loss. And the other notable fight on that card was Maxi Hughes versus Gary Cully, and it was pretty much a shutout for Maxi Hughes, who, yeah, I rate him quite highly. He's not really spoken about that much, obviously not one of the bigger names in the division, but yeah, he had a fight with Kambosos, which he lost, but a lot of people believe he won that fight. So you've definitely got to feel from there, because a win over Kambosos is really going to elevate your career, I guess Cambogia's a bit of like a bit of an up and down fighter himself. He had that, amazing night against Lopez, which is one of my favorite fights ever. But yeah, then not set the world alight since then. Lost twice comfortably to Devin Haney. Just been knocked out by Lomachenko. I mean, I still rate him as a fighter because I like that he wants all the smoke. But yeah, a bit of a up and down career. So yeah, a good win for Maxi Hughes, who, as I said, I rate him quite highly, and I hope to see him crack on. And yeah, Gary Cully, I guess, is gonna need a rebuild. So, with Chev Clark losing, let's look at some of the other English cruiserweights, and we can go to Liverpool, where Vidal Riley was back in action. It was sort of like a little warm-up fight because he'd had a broken rib against Lowell when he defended his English belt. So he had 6 rounds against, who had been knocked out in a round by Moses Itauma. Yeah, not a huge amount to say really. Vidal was just too active and too aggressive for Garber. He did stop him, but it was like an accumulation of punches. He didn't necessarily look too hurt, but he might have just been disguising it well. He didn't get dropped down, but Vidal was just, too vicious, too active, really putting his punches together well, and eventually did stop Dan Garber, who was a bit bigger than Vidal Riley, to be fair. As I said, he's been in there with Moses Itauma, who's a heavyweight, so, credit to Vidal Riley for beating a guy who is he's bigger than him, and, I never thought Riley's the biggest cruiserweight on the planet, but yeah, it was like a little 6-round warm-up fight for... It got announced after the fight, Isaac Chamberlain in February. This is a really exciting fight. I think this is a fight that everyone's going to want to see. I don't want to sound disrespectful, but Chamberlain is sort of like a bit of a gatekeeper to that world level status, I think Chris Billam-Smith's career really took off once he beat Chamberlain. It was a good test for Billam-Smith, which he came through fairly comfortably, but it was a really good fight. Again with Jack Massey, he beat Chamberlain, he got a world title shot, he got a crack at Opetaya. So yeah, this would be an exciting fight for Vidal Riley. I feel like a lot of English fans like myself have always had him on the radar, and being like, yeah, this is someone who could go all the way. So hopefully this win will, it will cement his English belt, and just, I think it should help build his name a little bit more. And elsewhere on the Liverpool card, Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price both won their fights, so it sounds like they're going to be fighting each other next. I don't believe the date's been finalised yet, but I believe that was the idea, a bit of like a crash course, bringing them together, a bit like what Turkey did with, well, what he wanted to do with Wilder and, Joshua. Obviously put them in against Volin and Parker, but obviously Wilder lost to Parker, so yeah, at least this one was successful in the Liverpool card. But yeah, also on this Liverpool card was Lee Cutler versus Gary Cully. A lot of people are a bit annoyed by Gary Cully. He talked a lot of shit, which I think wound some people up, and Lee Cutler dropped him twice in a pretty exciting fight, to be fair. Like, it was very active. Both guys were throwing a lot of punches. Both were there to the kill. Were there for the kill. No one was there to just roll over. So Lee Cutler won that in a very exciting fight. And yeah, the only fight I haven't really talked about was in Gibraltar, Dillian White and Ebenezer Tete. Yeah, again, a very interesting fight. It was quite a fun fight, 2 big guys just slugging each other out. Quite entertaining to watch. Yeah, I guess the takeaways are, give Tete some credit. He came to fight, he didn't want to just roll over. Dillian White looked very slow. He's always been a bit slow, but I think probably not at his prime, not at that top level anymore. I feel like he would struggle against a top 10 heavyweight. And next steps, Chisora Joshua, if he wants to challenge himself, would make sense. He might end up going for like a Joe Joyce. But yeah, it was an entertaining fight. I'm not that against it. Obviously, you want to see him challenge himself a bit more, but you don't know where he's with. I don't know where he's at with the British boxing border control. So yeah, all in all, a bit of a fun, interesting fight, if not the, most technical, high quality match I've ever seen. But yeah, I believe that is all the boxing news from this weekend. What is coming up? Well, obviously it is the big card in Saudi, Usyk versus Fury 2, which I am very excited for. I did wonder if like Fury was like somewhat trying to get under Usyk's skin by reminding him, oh, the first fight was really close. I don't need to change anything, because I don't think the first fight was actually all that close. I think Usyk won it 9 rounds to 3, and one of them was a 10-8. So is that Fury trying to play a bit of mind games there? I don't think it's working, because a lot of people say that Usyk is very difficult to break mentally, but all in all, it's been very fascinating to watch the fight build up. I also wanted to give Matchroom some credit, because they did a really good like fight preview for Johnny Fish and Dave Allen. Like, it was really good. It was really well put together. Like, the video was choreographed really well. They really brought up like the history. You know, they sparred before. Dave Allen beat him up a bit. You know, they went into both history's fighters. The whole thing was put together really nicely. They had some clips of Dave Allen. They had clips of Johnny Fisher with his family. I thought the whole thing was really entertaining. It was funny. It built the fight up well. So I just thought I'd give a shout out to Matchroom, because I thought they did that really well. And I think a lot of boxing purists are underestimating this fight. You know, I think it could be a really good. I think it would be a fun fight. Like, I think Dave Allen will get some rounds out of Johnny Fisher. Obviously, he's never been knocked down, Dave Allen. I think a lot of casuals will get involved. Dave Allen's got a decent following on YouTube. Johnny Fisher, he's got the Bosch Army, obviously, the Romford Bull. You know, everyone loves his dad, Big John. So I think this would be quite a good fight for the casuals. And a lot of people are being like, oh, this fight's not that good. But I think it'll bring a lot of casuals on. And I think it'll be a fun fight, right? Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen, both very lovable people, got great personalities. So, yeah. I just wanted to say I'm excited for that fight. But, yeah, all in all, not the greatest Saudi undercard we've ever seen, obviously. Was it McGrail? I think his opponent had a adverse analytical finding, you know, on that fight. That was supposed one of them on the fight, and obviously Madrimov pulled out, replaced with Ismail Davis, who, to be fair to him, he's got balls of steel, you know, always stepping in last minute. But I think he was supposed to fight, you know, like a few days before the main event anyway. So I think he was sort of in fighting shape anyway. But yeah, you know, fair play to him. When you get that call to, you know, co-main the second biggest heavyweight fight of the year, I think you take that call right. So yeah, all in all, a chaotic but interesting weekend of boxing, and lots to look forward to this week. Obviously, unfortunately, Inoue against Goodman's been postponed. Goodman got injured. And the only other thing to talk about is there looks like there's rumours that Yard is going to be fighting Lyndon Arthur for the third time. Maybe after his subpar performance against Vilkans, I think if we put him in against Buatsi, Hutchinson, he might get destroyed right now. So maybe they're thinking we'll have another fight. But I don't know how on board the fans are going to be. But yeah, there's a little summary of the weekend's boxing, what to look forward to. And yeah, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.